was just about to turn into the driveway and a grouse flushed up off the side of the road, and I barely missed it, but there was an oncoming pickup and that grouse slammed right into the side of the pickup, and it sounded like somebody hit it with a softball. A little bit of snow, and oh my gosh, look at the water, look at the water. We have ducks in our yard. Something's swimming over there. Boy, could be a little soft. Yikes. Good thing I brought my muck boots. Wow, is there a lot of water. Holy smokes. I have never seen it this flooded out here before. Wow. Definitely not what I'm used to seeing. I suppose the frost isn't out yet, and all the snow melted in a hurry. Went from 35 to 75 in about 2 days. Well, we should probably get this truck unloaded because it is a disaster. Well, this definitely creates some problems with all this water. Definitely changes some of the plans for the weekend, and I'm guessing, oh no, they're not frozen anymore. That's good. You hear those frogs? Well, welcome back, everybody. We are back up at the off-grid cabin. I know we've been gone for a minute, but hey, it's good to be back, and I'm really glad that you're here to join us. We've got a lot of projects in the queue for just a short amount of time, but we're gonna see what we can get done without killing ourselves and still try to fit in a little bit of fun. As you can see, spring is here. We do have a little bit of snow and some of the lakes are still frozen, but next weekend is the second weekend in May and it's fishing opener, and I will be up this weekend, next weekend, and Memorial weekend, and a whole bunch of times in the summer. So if you've been missing the videos, don't be disheartened. They're going to be coming out rather frequently and regularly. Well, it looks like it survived. And here come the muddy feet. You want me to get you some water? I'll get you some water. Let me get out of the truck, okay? I think I'm going to open some windows and get some fresh air in here. It's about 70 something outside, so it's cooler in here. All right, well, let's get unpacked. We got some work to do. Lots of unloading. Well, we better get on it. It can unload itself. These boards are to finish the window trim. I got more than I needed just because they've been hard to find. Buddy of mine gave me these windows that he had on his screen porch, and I'm not sure what I'm going to use them for yet. My ideas were maybe on the porch here, but I'm not sure. Maybe on the bathhouse or maybe on the summer kitchen. Either way, they're really nice windows, nice and big, and they were definitely worth keeping for the price of free. And if you can see, there's the stove back there, so that's going to be the project for the night, is figuring out how I am going to get that 150-pound stove into the cabin by myself. Now, it's not the 150 pounds that's so bad, but the fact that it's bulky and you just can't lift it up, that's going to be the challenge. But first things first, let's get these windows out of here. I don't even know where I'm going to put them right now. I was going to put them over by the shed on the backside, but I'm not going to drag them through Lake Featherwood. Well, maybe I will go through the swamp. All right, nice. Well, wow, it's nice to get those for free. It's really nice to have generous friends who enjoy watching you build the cabin. So thank you, Matt, for those. I appreciate it. Now I just have to decide, should I put a couple of them on? You know, I have 4 of them. I could do the sides of the porch and then just screen the front. Or, I don't know. I was thinking more of like for the bathhouse. Or maybe for the summer kitchen. But time will tell. For now, we've got them. They're not going anywhere, and we got time to think on it. I am really bummed. We were going to have a bonfire tonight. I was really, really looking forward to sitting by the fire and listening to the spring peepers. I have never seen it this wet before. Wow, what a mess. But this has made me think about the summer kitchen pavilion that was going to go here. I may end up having to bring in some stones or something just to build it up a little bit. But we'll see. Look at that. Now, normally in the spring, I get a little bit of water kind of in the middle of about where that lake is. But it has never been up to the shed. Never. It's never been by the barbecue. It's like a darn swamp. Me too. We're going to have to use some hillbilly ingenuity here. But the plan is, if I can slide it down and get it onto this board, hopefully I can get it on this pallet. And then I can slide the center on the other board and so forth until I can get it to the deck. Once I get it on the deck, I can use furniture movers. Hopefully that will be sufficient. All right, let's do this. Some gloves would be nice, but it's just the burners, Calm down. We'll take them off right now. All right. As a wise man once said, all right. Still working. Look at that, perfectly balanced. We totally got this. Look at that. Easy peasy, mac and cheesy. Woo! Are they on the pads? Is it on the pads? It's not on the pads, is it? It is now. So this is a 24-inch model vintage stove. I have no idea how old it is, but I'm guessing 70s, 80s maybe, so not super old. Well, I guess if you're 25 it's super old, but if you're 50 it's not that old. I probably should have come back to check on that grouse right away. I mean, there was feathers all over the road. Of course, there's been enough traffic where I can't tell, but It's not in the road, so I think somebody grabbed it. Maybe the guy who had a dent in his truck came back for it. Anyway, you can't keep them anyway because they're out of season, but I just figured I'd check on it. We're having chicken tomorrow night anyway, so it didn't really matter. Oh, first loon of the year. And of course she stopped singing as soon as I turned the camera on. I certainly don't need a fire right now, but it's probably going to get down into the high 30s tonight. So I thought maybe I would start one just to take the chill out. I'm probably going to have to open some windows and whatnot. But at least I won't have to stoke it very hard. This may be the last fire of the season. Alright, we're gonna go check the game cams before it gets too dark. Oh, what was in there? Oh, God, it's just the soul. I thought there was a mouse in there. Oh. Okay, that's not cool. That's not cool at all. That's not cool at all. I'm gonna lock him in the van because I don't want him going through the water. You stay, Papa. Gonna go check the game cam. No, you stay. Because he will run through the swamp and then he'll be all wet in the shack. Oh, this should be good. That was a lot of water. Oh boy. I decided we're gonna have a swamp fire. I thought maybe the flames against the watery background would be kind of cool. And yes, I used a little cheater fluid on this. So it's actually like 10:30 at night. River and I were just hanging out by the fire, sitting in the swamp water. And I think I'm just going to eat some dinner and we're going to head to bed. And tomorrow we have a busy, busy day. Anyway, we're going to finish eating and hit the hay. And I will see you guys in the morning. So good night. Good morning. Welcome to today's episode of Swamp People. And Swamp Dogs. Swamp Doggies. No, 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 no. I decided that first things first, we're going to go into town and we are going to get that extra cabinet for the kitchen and then make a final determination on where that stove is going to go. And then we can start doing what we can to install that. But it looks like it's going to be a nice day. So I want to get in and get that done and get back. It's not open quite yet, but I want to get this going before we burn too much daylight. So worthless in mud. Oh, it's sunk in pretty good actually. They're not as good as those great big ones, but I tell you what, I think I bought these for less than $20. And for just a quick thing in the truck, they've saved me about 3 times probably. I've used them. Really need to throw some class 5 or something down in here, but I kind of want to keep it grass. Well, I guess being swamped out's going to come in handy. Yeah, that's good enough. Well, it worked pretty good for the stove, so let's see if we can get it to work for this. Watch out, Rainy. Watch out. Now this isn't very heavy, but it's just kind of awkward. I was able to lift it up onto that cart at Home Depot by myself. But why work harder if you can work smarter, right? That's pretty easy. That's almost too easy. Do you remember a few videos back when I complained about that 12-volt light switch not working and that there was probably a disconnection somewhere in the wall? Well, if I have to drill a hole through the wall anyway to hook up the stove, I thought now is the perfect time to take some of these panels apart and see where that splice went bad. If I remember right, it should be right up in here. So hopefully these come off okay, and if they don't, I'm not too concerned about it because the cabinets in the stove are going to cover most of them. So I really don't have a choice. It's just one of those things. I have to take care of it, and now is the time to do it. So before I get the stove hooked up, we're going to tear apart some of these panels, see if we can find that problem, and go from there. Yeah, and these don't want to come off at all, so that's great. Great news. Oh, that was breaking right there. So oh my gosh, can it be this easy? Seriously? So things are not going very well, obviously, as you can see. But I did find my splices. They're actually right up here, and they look pretty good. So I don't know what the problem is, but I don't know. We're just gonna have to keep going and seeing what we come up with here. But anyway, I'm taking this opportunity to move my outdoor light. Okay, so since I have half the cabin tore apart, I'm going to take this opportunity to move this lamp. I had originally wired this 12-volt light before I put the porch on, so it was centered at the time for what I had, but then I built the porch later, and it was ridiculous. So I just got my hole drilled. I'm going to go ahead and run these wires through here, so at least then I can have that light socket up here. Well, I have good news and bad news. The good news is there are no breaks in the wire in this wall. The bad news is it's going to be in that wall. So I kind of tore this apart for nothing. However, it wasn't for nothing, because now I'm satisfied that it's going to be okay, and that I've narrowed it down to a 3-foot area. Yeah, what do you do? What do you do? When you do something wrong, sometimes you got to go back and fix it. So anyway, I'm just going to keep putting the tongue and groove up, and then hopefully still get the stove installed tonight. We'll see. I don't know. One thing I did find out was the pass-through iron pipe that I bought is, of course, too short. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but I'm going to do as much as I can, and we're going to move on from there. So I'm at the point where I'm going to hook up my gas lines to the stove, and I had to do a little bit of research to figure out how big of a line and how much pressure and what kind of regulator, and did I need something special for the gas stove. And what I found out is a lot of gas stoves actually have a regulator built into the stove itself, and that will drop it from a nominal or a different pressure down to the half PSI, because the stove needs half PSI of pressure. Well, lucky for me, I do have a regulator in here that will do that. I did look on the little data sheet in it, and I found out that it needs 10 inches of water column, which I don't really understand how that all works, but what I also researched and found out was that if it calls for 10, then I should use 11 to make sure that I have just over 10, and then that regulator inside will drop it down to the appropriate thing. The problem is you just don't want to be under, so you always want to make sure that you have a little extra pressure just for the stove to operate functionally. At least that's my understanding, so don't quote me on that. So what I plan to do is I'm going to hook up my approved gas line, flexible line for in the house. My plan was to run an iron nipple through the wall, but of course, the one I bought an 8-incher and I should have bought a 10-incher, whatever. What I plan to do now is just hook it up initially and then run the iron pipe along the porch at a different time. Today I just want to make sure that the stove is actually functional before I get too in-depth with permanent installations. So today I'm going to use gas line approved tape for threads, tape for all of my threads. You can use putty as well, but I thought when I go to the iron and final installation, I'll maybe use the putty, but for now I want to use the tape in case I have to undo one of my connections in case it's leaking, or if it's the temporary one that I'm going to use. So what I found out was many barbecue grills have 11 inches to 20 inches of water column. I found one that was specifically 11 inches of water column, which is actually going to be perfect for this stove. So I have the regulator coming out of my tank to regulate it to 11 inches of water column, and then when it goes through the regulator on the stove, it drops it down to that half PSI. I don't really understand the difference between water column and PSI. Whatever, I'm just following the directions. So that's the plan today. My spade bit wasn't quite long enough to get through all of the sections of wall. So I thought maybe I would just run this screw through there as a pilot hole and come in from the opposite end. You know, it probably would be a novel idea to read the directions before you actually do something. So when it comes to putting the pipe tape on, you don't put it on the flared ends. You only put it on the male ends. Well, I guess my thought was the flared end was the male end, but clearly not. So my assumption was that this was a male end, right? Because it goes inside the female end. Well, this is actually a flared end. And you only put the pipe tape on around the male ends that are squared off. I didn't know that. Now I do. So anyway, don't make the mistake I made. See, this is why I didn't use the putty, because I just wanted to have the option to take it back apart if I needed to, and didn't expect to need to, but well, I think that's good. Well, glad I caught that. So as you can see, it's a Danby stove. I'm not really sure what the age of it is. I'm guessing 70s, 80s, but it is just in really, really, really good shape, like hardly ever used. So I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah, it just looks really good. And it is already converted to LP, so I don't have to worry about that. It's a 24-inch model, which a 20 would have been better, but hey, you know, you get what you get. I've been looking at them, and the guy said it worked when they took it out of the downstairs apartment, so yeah, I'm excited about it. Well, I just wanted to give you guys a little sneak peek on what's on the menu tonight. So we have some grilled summer squash, zucchini mushrooms with rosemary and balsamic vinegar. And then we have some chicken with a little bit of oil on it, and then rosemary, salt, pepper, and garlic, and then grilled in the pan with all of the balsamic that was the reduction off of the vegetables. So anyway, delicious, delicious, delicious. Well, everybody, it's already that time to head out. It's Mother's Day today, so I'm gonna head home a little early, plus it's raining, and I will be up here next weekend, and then I will be up here frequently after that. So the main thing this weekend was just to get that stove unloaded. And, you know, at least I've got part of that wire issue tracked down. And I know what I need for the stove. Put up a couple more trim pieces in here, and then I can move on to some sort of countertop, which I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet on that. But goodbye, little cabin with a stove. Until next time, we'll see you soon.